Okay, so we have the confirmation that you can hear us loud and clear. Welcome to our event, Elevate series of our webinars, Fast and Furious of B2B web design, turn your site into a marketing agent. And today there is two of us. My name is Veronika, I'm a UX designer and digital experiences manager. And I usually navigate all stages of digital product development from concept to implementation.
And I'm Maria, nice to meet you. I collaborate with cross-functional teams to transform concepts into fully realized designs.
Okay, so we want to give you a little head up. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we also can see you are messaging us on the chat. Everything is working well. I'm happy. So we want to tell you first that this webinar is specially designed for those who are either planning to redesign or build a new website, or those who are already in the process, maybe gathering offerings or working with agencies and not really maybe knowing what sometimes is presented in the offer, or some of the parts that agencies suggesting that should be done is confusing. So we will touch upon all these today. So hopefully you will get some tips and insights on how to prepare yourself to website rebuild or build a new one that will be working well as your marketing tool. So with no further ado, let's start with a little joke. Sorry. So we wanted to start with this lighthearted joke before we start into the serious topics of website redesign. We find it kind of funny. We hope you find it funny too.
Yeah, so we've noticed a common misconception in the industry. Many focus solely on the visual aspect when redesigning a website. And actually, there is much more to this. There are many elements that transform a website into a powerful marketing tool. And today we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so it's usually us in the front, the white car, and all of the important stuff is just chasing us behind. So the only way to stand out is obviously by having a website, but it's no longer about having the website that only looks good. It's also very important that your website clearly communicates quality information to your customers. It's important to focus both on appearance of the website, but also the value it offers. Because, and I will start with something a little strong, if you think that your prospects want to learn something about your company, you would be wrong. Sorry to say, but prospects don't really care about you. They care more about learning how what you do helps them in their daily work. So they want to know and learn also from your website, whatever you are offering solves their problems, right?
Yes, exactly. So we would like to explore what it truly takes to create a website that not only looks great, but also drives results that you're looking for.
Yeah, and communicates clearly the offering as you see on the slide. So let's start with this graph that you see. The successful website is in the middle, and now we present two factors that influence the successful website. So the right red bubbles are, let's say, brand essence, meaning that if you want your website to function as your best sales person rather than your worst, it's crucial to integrate it seamlessly with other marketing elements, meaning that you have to combine everything, the communication, the offering, the value proposition. It is the organism that has to work together and also is a part of the successful website. So the components that you see here in the bubbles must work together. And if any of the aspects is mismatched or maybe underdeveloped, it can put at risk the entire effort of building and having a website.
Yes, exactly. And many people mistakenly believe that a brand essence is its logo, but it's actually much, much more than just the logo. It's the company's values, culture, customer experiences, and the emotional connection with its audience. So while logo is of course important, it's a visual symbol and it's important to have one, but the brand essence reflects much more. It's the deeper narrative and the unique promise that will differentiate us and that we will have something different to offer than our competitors.
Yeah, because what we want to underline here is that the brand identity establishes the credibility. It
Exactly.
also enhances user experience and can set you apart from the other brands that are there competing with you. And we have this table that we think is a good benchmark, or you can use it as a checklist for building a strong foundation for any of your marketing activities.
Yes, and it's actually very crucial to establish, firstly, the elements that we see on the left side of the table, and only after that, start working on the right side of the table. So firstly, we have to think about the purpose, about the mission of our company, about the vision, values, and other elements. As you can see, there are many of them. And then only after having this set, we can think about the brand logo, the visual identity, the visual elements, and then eventually the style guide and our future website.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of this. Obviously, we don't want you to think that you have to really have everything in place, but it's good to just take a look at the table, see what you have in place. Maybe you can get back to some of the parts at the later stages, but this is full scope, obviously.
Yes, and it will also help you to structurize the process and think about your company, because we often think about ourselves differently. And then when we look at it from another angle and just structurize it, we can see all the elements clearly before we start the visual aspect.
Yeah, so we started with this strong foundation for the website planning. And obviously, there are some examples that we want to use here. There is Slack that we really like. And what we like about Slack is you can see the table of the contents, that it's just screenshot from their brand guidelines, actually. It is a very long, big document that it's available to everyone. So if you want to take a look later, we also encourage you to see what the best ever brand guidelines can look like. But I use this screenshot because I wanted to show you exactly the first part and the second part that was also presented in the table. So they start with the brand essence, the mission, the values, what they are, what it means to be Slack. And also later comes all the visuals, logotypes, color palettes, everything. And just one more. They say that they are humans speaking to humans. And what you see, they use it in the language and the voice and the tone of voice and everything they use. But also you can see this in the visual part, right?
Yes, it's actually all about consistency. So we are consistent in how we talk about ourselves, but it's also about how we consume the brand with our eyes. So when we look at the logo, we see everything that you were just talking about. The logo is simply actually Slack. The color palette is vibrant and it's all colorful, and it clearly just communicates the relevance of the product, and it's a clear, focused communication. And we can see it in the written word, but also within all the visual materials that they have.
And visual materials essentially also means website, because the screenshot that you see here is the part of their website, and what they convey here is just this, what they say in the brand book. So they use the same language, they use the visuals. Everything is tied together to, as I mentioned before, work as this one.
Yes, it's holistic.
Yeah, it's holistic.
Everything works together to convey one message.
Yeah. So we also want to maybe show you what it means not to really have anything like a brand strategy, what can happen. So we had a good example of Slack. Now we have something that it's not that good. So all these websites, what they have in common, they bring very similar messages, but you can barely seize, they barely seize the opportunity to present something compelling about the company, right? You kind of don't see any strong identity, neither in visuals nor the communication part. And it's even very difficult to distinguish one from another. And I bet that if you visit all the websites within like 5 minutes, and after that I ask you which one is which, you would say, I don't know.
Yes, and what's really bad is that this uniformity can just simply lead to disinterest and confusion. So we want the user to stay at our website for a little bit longer than just getting there and going to our competitors. So this example actually highlights the crucial need for each company to establish a distinctive identity that resonates uniquely with its audience.
Yeah, and they are from the same industry, so you can easily guess that probably some of the customers might be doing the same what we did, meaning checking different websites, checking what you can bring to me that it really changes my work daily. And actually, I'm not sure what they bring here. So
me neither.
Okay, so after having this intro, we have the 5 steps that we want to share with you, so you can later maybe consider them for your website rebuild. What we presented so far was like a groundwork for the website, like visual elements and also communication, because this is a first step, right? Establish your identity is the first step. And once this is in place, you can focus on your audience and then later develop a comprehensive strategy for a website.
Exactly. So let's dive into the steps to consider.
So the first one are users. So like you said, the screenshots from other examples, these were homepages. So if your homepage isn't talking about the benefits you offer to your audience, maybe it's time to also update your website. So let's maybe talk about what to do to make our users happy. So you can see, and you already know that at the stage of building the brand, you probably have your audience very well identified. But now this pre-identified audience needs to be, their needs, they need to be translated to website. And you have to define the needs of your audience within the context of the website that you're building. So you can focus on what they specifically require from the website.
Yeah, so you should actually prioritize creating an intuitive user experience by selecting visuals and content that resonate with your audience and ensuring functionalities will align with their expectations. And by focusing on your audience's needs, you can design a website that is both engaging and functional, leading to higher satisfaction and, what's important, to better user retention.
Yeah. So why we are talking about the needs is that we are showing you now on this graph a B2B buying journey that probably you can't see all the details, but that's
the point.
Yeah, that's the point, because it's super complex, right? You see on the graph that people will be interacting with your brand, also with your website, at very different stages. And visitors, they come to the website at different points of this journey that is complex, like I said. So it's also important that you know this journey very well and you understand where is your website meeting the specific needs of your audience within this buying journey.
Yeah, so you actually want to support users effectively through their journey, and the website is one of the points that you have to take into account. So you have to ask yourself questions: why, when, and what exactly will the users be looking for at your website, and address these particular issues every time when you think about
if you analyze
redesign of your website.
If you analyze this before you actually start building the website, then you have like bigger chance to just place on the website something that will address different needs at different stages. And now we have a very nice example from MailChimp. You might know the brand. It's what we are showing here is like what they provide to users at the different stages of their journey. So you can see here there are resources, or maybe this is something like a blog page on the website that helps users that are at the problem identification stage by offering valuable information that can address their initial questions or concerns. And this way, they try to build this trust and maybe familiarity with the brand. They are just increasing the likelihood that when the user is returning to the website, when they are ready to make a purchase, they already kind of know the brand. They were reading some resources. So, okay, there is something in my head telling me that maybe they are okay. Maybe I can work with them. So it's not the moment that the user is ready to buy something, but by providing something at this very early stage of the user journey, you also already build this connection.
And they have a very broad audience, many different target audiences. So they will be seeking for different solutions and different services. So here in the menu, you have a clearly outlined list of all the solutions and services. So they guide in a very intuitive way their target audiences so they can very quickly find what they are looking for.
Yeah. So the third one, because of 3 different stages of the journey, is this free trial. It's in the red circle on the top right. You can see that they are providing demo version. So sometimes at this requirements building stage, you can allow your users to explore the product's features and really feel what it means to use the product or service that you're providing. So their MailChimp are giving their users a hands-on experience by allowing them to just sign in and have a trial version, which also helps users at the later stages to just make informed decisions, because we don't want to buy something we are not sure fits our needs. So whenever you have a chance to provide something that will show kind of a backend of your product or how the product really looks, it's good to have this option on your website, because it's just building the confidence in product's value and obviously the effectiveness. So it also works better with service, obviously, but sometimes with products it's also possible. Okay, so we were talking about the users, and we said that if you fail to identify a need or a stage in this journey accurately, you just risk losing users, because the site won't respond to the needs with necessary functionalities, let's say, because, well, bottom line is that we want people, or you want people, to spend a lot of time on your website. And the average visit here to the website is only 45 seconds, which is not much. And we just want to be sure that your website convey what you offer within that time. And it builds this story, because maybe your competitors have websites that build a story in 45 seconds. So sometimes they can just do it better. And the user that is visiting your website and later a competitor's website, they will simply choose what really speaks to them.
Yes, so it's about adopting a user-centered design approach. And that if you do so, it will help you make your product intuitive and accessible. So when designing products or services, validating user needs is actually essential, as you mentioned, to ensure that solutions meet real-world requirements effectively.
Yeah, we don't want to use this as a buzzword, the user-centric design. Sorry, we want it to be something that really is a foundation of our website. So we need to think about the needs and the audience before we even start building.
It's just
to know what to build. Yeah. Okay. So we said something about user needs. Let's talk about our goals, because it's our website, right? It's the marketing tool. So we want to establish clear business goals, but also we want to touch upon this and also establish marketing goals for the website as the objective, right? For the website, it's crucial that your website efforts and everything that you put there is aligned with the overall marketing strategy that is also providing direction and measurable outcomes. So we start with business goals and later we talk about marketing goals, maybe sales goals, and then we can translate it into website goals.
Yes, so having them defined will help us to make effective decisions and optimal resource allocation and accurate tracking of progress and success. Because if we don't have these goals, it will be really difficult for us actually to assess if the website that we build is actually working. What does it mean that it works? Yes. And to make any sort of necessary improvements, it will become really challenging if we don't have these goals set at the very beginning.
Yeah, and how to define goals. What we say always is to have them built in a way that are SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This we all know probably, but it just means that you need to really clarify your ideas, focus your efforts, and then you can think of what the website should have in order to help you achieve your marketing and sales goals, leading eventually to achieving business goals.
Exactly. So here we have some few examples of the goals that come really often when we're working with our clients. It can be improving the rankings, the SEO, the increase of sales, or just providing a clear service and maintenance policy. Of course, for each company, it will be a little bit different, but these are just examples.
Yeah, and having said that, and just to have a little bit of summary here, we said at the beginning about the audience needs that come from analyzing how the user will interact with your brand, what they really need, what they are looking. Now we talk about your goals, and then you have this beautiful graph here that it's telling us that this leads to the foundation of the website. And now you can build upon it and start thinking about how to structure your website, knowing what your audience need, what you need, and now what we will be building is the structure, which is a third step. We start with this nice reference to the house building, meaning that if you don't have a structure for your website, it is a little bit like building a house without a blueprint, and we probably all know that it can turn out very bad. So what it means, structure. We usually start with a sitemap. And you can see the sitemap is something that lists all the website pages and the connections between the pages. It forms a foundation of a well-designed website because it's also providing a clear structure and it's explaining how the content on the website and all the elements relate to each other.
Yes, so having a sitemap that is aligned with the website goals and user needs that we were just talking about ensures that users will be able to easily navigate through the site and understand how they can get from one point to another. What will happen if they click here? What will happen if they go to this particular page? It will also help us to track and analyze user behavior, traffic patterns, and other metrics. It's also about optimizing your website for SEO. And what's interesting is about also security measures. It will be much easier for us to manage security measures and implement them with a clear sitemap, clear structure.
Yeah. So for structuring, this is the first step. And then we can have also something that you see here, which is like this extended sitemap. It's an architecture that organizes the content and really clarifies the pages before even we start designing the UX wireframes.
Exactly. And it's really necessary to have it if we have many stakeholders taking part in the process, because it will help streamline feedback sessions. And if we have many pages, yes, because then we can clearly understand what differentiates one page from another.
Yeah, because first we kind of agree, okay, we need this many pages, and this is homepage, this is product page, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we go into the details and we discuss, okay, so if we have the homepage, let's start with this opening hero section that will also allow the user to maybe click here and go directly to the catalog, or it will allow the user to download something. And then what happens if we scroll further and further? So we do not talk super details yet, but then we still see how many sections within each of the pages we will get.
And what are the connections? Because that's really important. So what happens when the user gets at the end of the page? What happens next? Where we want him to be redirected? Yes? Yeah. And how these pages intertwine and what are the connections between them, especially if you have a big website.
And now, obviously, the final, let's say, stage here of structuring the website is this UX wireframe. And here is where we actually focus on the information hierarchy, and the all essential CTAs and copy, meaning text for all the pages, because it's also very important from what we've learned to avoid using lorem ipsum here. It's really better to have the copy ready at this stage and complement the structure that you came up before with actual copy, because you can avoid any design misinterpretation, or you can clearly see what is going to happen on each of the tabs, and you just focus on the text, the messages, the communication.
And it's about honest feedback, not only from your stakeholders, but maybe also from your users, because right now at this stage, they can understand the offering clearly. And we want to focus actually on the offering, what the website has exactly to say, what each page has in stock, because we don't want to focus on design yet, because if we add any design elements, we will be focusing on design elements partially on the structure and the copy. So it's actually really necessary to have just what Veronika was talking about without any sort of design element, just to have a clear understanding what exactly each page has to offer.
Yeah, and by having this black and white representation of your website, you can easily send it out to all departments that are maybe interested in the process and just confirm. Okay, so for the, career page, that is relevant for HR department, you will have this and that, and the form will look like this. What do you think about it? Do we need more? Do we need to upload something, or the user needs to see pictures? So then we can actually just think about what goes where, and just get the feedback from other teammates
and evaluate the user journeys. Seeing if everything flows perfectly and seamlessly.
Okay. Now the content, because we have to put something on the website, right?
Yes. So it's when we say content, we don't especially mean only visuals. It's actually much more. What I mean is much more elements can go on your website than just visuals. So it's about putting recordings, podcasts, videos, testimonials. These are the elements that you have to think about that are built upon your brand identity, and that will just simply enhance user experience.
Yeah, and this is the moment, right? We just discover that these are the needs of our audience. So we build the structure, and then we have to think about what we will put there on the website. Do we have enough of the articles, or maybe we need to come up with a white paper just to complete the process, complete the
social
experience.
Proof that we have the exact materials that we need.
So we are gathering everything before. To be sure that later we just move on smoothly with no steps aside. And the final and the most beloved part is the design part. The title of the slide already said design, says a little bit. So you have thought about the structure, the content, the goals, and everything is in place. And then you move on to the design phase. But sometimes it turns out that the brand book is not there, or you don't like your brand book anymore, or maybe you think that your website should look more fresh or modern. And if this is the case, it's actually better to make a little pause here and define how the website will look before you actually start designing and dressing up your website.
Yes, because all visual elements should be based on the brand's identity. Because as we were saying, it's crucial to have this one clear message when we say about our brand, and the website will help us to convey this message. And having a defined visual approach will also really help us to avoid spending tons of hours on comments and discussing who likes what element and what color fits best, because every person has a different taste.
Yeah, and it's not about the taste. Eventually, it's about the message. Yeah. So what we sometimes create to help our clients in this particular situation is the key visual that can set a tone for a website design by just capturing the essence of and some core elements of the brand identity, meaning the visual. So this approach allows for a more streamlined and focused visual direction, ensuring consistency. And it's just something that it's, let's say, a good starting point that you can later also develop upon and just extend.
Yes, and something more a middle ground between what you were talking right now about and a full brand book is brand manual. It touches upon specific elements. So it's not about saying this is the look and feel of the brand, but it's more going into specifics. But it's going into specifics such as defining the size of the logo, the typography, about the colors. But it won't necessarily help if I want to create social media posts. Yeah, so this will help me when I create a style guide for a website, and it helps to have this groundwork for visuals for the website. But it's not really a full document that gives all the answers.
Yeah. I will just maybe touch upon the chat question. We will answer all the questions that you have at the end. We don't want to just like interrupt now, but if you want, you can already use the chat and we'll get back to it later. So what is typically the best approach is obviously a brand book that encompasses all the elements, including brand essence also that we mentioned at the beginning, and also all design materials. There is no room for guessing here. We have, if we have such a document in hand, the website, we can be sure will be aligned with the rest of all the marketing assets, and we are just side. But obviously, it's a big document. Not always there is place or time or budget to create something like this. So sometimes it's also good to start with the key visual or the brand's manual
and build upon it.
Yeah, and build upon it, just to eventually be sure that if we have something designed for the website later, if we have printed materials, they are also saying the same, using the same visual approach. So the user, whatever they interact with, they don't feel confused and lost that these are the materials from the same company. Yeah, we have those 4 points that kind of say what we can end up with if we don't really have any design guidelines, and it's your field. So
yeah, it's actually basically the undermined customer trust, and it potentially can impact sales and conversions. And frequent changes cause confusion and additional work, making it for everybody not a painless experience. And actually, from the user's perspective, confusing and unenjoyable experience will lead to shorter visits on our websites and higher bounce rates. So it's really important to have this consistency in place.
Yeah, like we said with Slack, right? If they want to be Slack, they have to be Slack in every aspect, not only in what they are saying, but also how they picture themselves, how they look. so the user always gets the meaningful message.
So it's best for the user, but it's also best for us if we want to make this process quick and to have everybody having a good experience when designing the website.
Yeah. So this is the UI wireframe that we are like, this is the ultimate goal, right? So it's presenting the full design of a website. And this is also very, very good for feedback gathering. You have the static version of your website presented. This is exactly, I mean, this is actually Figma. That's the tool that we are using at Clipadice, but sometimes there are different tools that are also allowing you to build wireframe of a website. This is something you can actually, when you can actually see how the website looks. What are the pictures that you are using? Do we need a map here? Or is there something that will be moving? If yes, we can define it how and find references to help us understand how it will be moving. So this is for us, meaning the team that is working on it, to understand how the copy is really working with the design, but also this is something that we can send to developer, and it is the easiest and the safest way of building any website, because this is like a blueprint for coding.
Yes, and if you want to be even more sure that everybody understands how the website will work, we can do something even go even further and create an interactive prototype. So it's not a code. What you see right now is not a coded website. These are elements that are linked together in Figma. So if I click upon one element, something will happen, but it's not coded. So we just spend time, not that much time, and we create an interactive prototype for our stakeholders, but also for the developers. And then we know that everybody is aligned. So that's something that we can do. It's not a must, but it can be helpful.
Yeah, and answering maybe the question now, what happens if we edit the copy later? This is actually also quite a good moment to edit the copy at this stage, because you see how the copy works with all the visual elements. So if you think that something is not really in place, or you suddenly change your mind, you can do it now because it's just easier, and you will still see the result, the ending result. And it's not costly to change it now, because you spend less time on changing the copy, unless you think of adding 5 other paragraphs. This might change things a little bit.
It's more about subtle changes.
But obviously, it's always better to do it now than when you are already working with the developer, because we all know that, the time of the developer costs a lot. So.
But it's actually best to include all the changes at the earlier stages, because the amount of copy defines how a designer will look at a specific element and how it will be designed. So if we change the copy significantly, it can change the whole design.
Of course. Well, we have a question that touches upon the brand visuals. Can we build brand visuals only during UI stage, the key visual element, if we don't have solid brand book in place? Well, building a key visual for a brand, or a brand manual, or a brand book can be a totally separate part. And obviously, you don't really need to do it at the website building stage. And preferably, it's not the best option to touch upon the visuals of the brand when you are already building a website. But what we wanted to say is that sometimes it happens that we don't really think about how it is important to have this brand manual in place before you touch upon the design of a website, because we just simply move on with the flow, and we think that, we all know how we look, right?
Yeah, we know the feeling.
Yeah.
But then eventually it happens that we don't really know, or each of us has a different feeling about the company.
So, we shared 5 steps that you can think of when building a website, or maybe questioning yourself whether you are on the right path to rebuild, redesign. We covered only the essentials, right? We know that the website development is super complex, and we can imagine even having a separate webinar covering each of the elements we've been discussing today. Even the brand manual thing, or the key takeaways, like I said.
So the message that we would like to convey is that you should tick all of these topics that we were talking about today. It's like a to-do list, and gaining deep understanding of the business and your clients means that we can make better design decisions. So think about your audience, about for whom is this website. Think about your brand identity, about conveying the message of your company, about the goals that you have. What would you like to achieve with your website? How will the website be structured? What materials will you add on your website? Yes, and eventually the UI design, how all these little visual elements that make your website unique and the look and feel will eventually go together. Yes, so think about all these elements, because it's a holistic whole, and we have to have all of them in mind.
And now, why do we really use this reference to Fast and Furious and what the topic is about? Is that, well, the Fast and Furious website development process often leads to overlooked details and poor user experience, and sometimes even subpar performance. So what we wanted to say is that rushing can really result in a lot of issues, meaning even technical issues, weak content, and this lack of strategic planning can lead you to end up in a ditch, if we use this reference of riding a car that is going really fast. And we don't want the website to reduce, right, the effectiveness of your marketing efforts. We wanted to help you and to ensure that the website is effective and it really meets the user needs and supports your long-term goals, right?
Yes. So if you'd like to have your website turned into a marketing engine, it's essential to integrate all the elements we've discussed today on the webinar and have your checklist and complete each step.
Yeah, and get back to your website from time to time. It's not that we just, start the car and put it on the road and then we just go make ourselves a coffee. We just need to also constantly improve the website. Check this engine that is working toward our benefit. Check if it's working well. If it's nothing there is making a weird noises, which is also checking the goals, checking the needs there,
and checking actually your users, have their needs changed, and
using analytics to help you understand if what you thought is true is really true, whether your users using some parts of the website. Maybe you were thinking about creating a bunch of articles, but no one is reading them. So maybe you can redirect the efforts and put something else. Maybe you can start a podcast or something different. But what it means is that you have to check the engine constantly. You just do not leave it and hope it's going to be running for a long time. So as we said, the more time and effort you invest in the website planning and later execution, the more powerful and effective marketing tool it becomes after launch. It's not just something that is your business card, but online. It's something that really can help you drive sales or even build connection with your audience and sets you apart from your competitors simply.
Yeah, it can be a very effective tool.
Yeah. And now we have the time to actually hear some questions. I can see the question on the chat because the previous two we already answered. Thank you, Kuba. And the last one is how we can design for CMS in B2B and structure it. Well, having the CMS in planning is also a little bit of a different task, but this comes in hand also with planning the content. So you really need to understand how dynamic your website will be and what you really need there to change daily or weekly, how much you want to be involved in the process of adding elements or Is there an IT department that you have that you can ask for help, or is there a need of an external developer to change anything? So it's usually the CMS planning and talking about the CMS structure comes with the content, as the name says, right? Because it's the content management system. So you need to understand what is the content that you will be putting on the website, what are the dynamic elements of the website that you will be changing, and later you can talk about the CMS
and about its structure.
Yeah,
and about how it will be handled.
The question, yeah. Also, we are totally open to answer your questions on LinkedIn. As you can see, there are our profiles here. So if you prefer reaching out there and then just asking for help, or maybe want us to clarify on something that was presented too quickly, we are happy to connect.
Yeah.
Also, we will be sharing a recording to this webinar with you shortly. So in case you want to send it out to your colleagues, we will be very happy if you do so. So I think there are no more questions. So we are, I think, good to wrap up. Thank you very much for today. Yeah, we will definitely provide the link. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.